So let me start by saying that in 2012, it was a very, very significant year for social media globally. If we look at the slides, firstly, Obama's victory post, that actually received the highest ever likes in Facebook, which was 4 million likes. Moving on, if you look at London Olympics, it was one of the most talked about events in Twitter. And can you guess how many tweets it got? 150 million tweets. And of course, we know Gangnam Style got more than 1 billion views in YouTube. So that was a wonderful year for social networking all over the world. And in Bangladesh as well, if we think about it, it started to grow from 2012, and 2013 has been a great year in terms of digital revolution. So how many people here want to be entrepreneurs? Can we see some hands? Entrepreneurs? Okay, so I've got a very good news for you. So all the speakers that are here, including myself, we're actually just a few steps ahead of you. It's not much. You know why? Because right now we're at a time where the face of entrepreneurship has actually changed, and it's much, much easier for you to catch up with us and just even like exceed us very soon. So today in this presentation, I'm going to speak to you about how entrepreneurship has changed and how in this digital age you can make use of that and you can make it big very fast. My name is Riyad, and I work for a company called Magneto Digital. I'll talk to you about my experiences later. So let's first look at the way how the world has changed. Okay, so there are 4 billion hours of YouTube videos that is being watched all over the world every month. That's a big number. There's 100 billion searches in the internet every day. People are looking for things in the internet. So that's a great level of interaction in the internet. There's 30 trillion unique URLs that are in the web. So when you do a Google search, essentially Google is going through probably 30 trillion unique URLs and finding the information for you. And if we talk about mobile, there is 1.5 million Android activations alone each day from all over the world. So this just shows you, the numbers actually show you that, you know, the world is changing and everybody is being connected. Okay, so let's look at the advantages that you have, the resources that you have. The first advantage as a young entrepreneur that you have is the barrier to entry is no longer there. So this is an example of Michelle Fan, who is a freelance makeup artist. I don't know if does anyone know about her YouTube channel? Is there anyone? Okay, there's 2 people who know about her. So 3 people actually. So Michelle Fan started her YouTube page, and she started uploading videos of her doing celebrity makeups, and she shares the videos on YouTube. And guess what? She has 0.5 billion views in her channel, and she has almost 5 million subscribers. And so she didn't have any barrier to entry. So YouTube is there, it's available for you as well. She was good at something, so she decided to make those videos and share them on YouTube for everyone to see. And people started liking that content, they started subscribing to that, and then let's see what happened to her. She now launched her global makeup brand, which probably she couldn't have done if she didn't become famous through YouTube. So this is a very interesting example of how in this day and age, there's hardly any barrier to entry. So if you want to do something, there's a lot of platforms for you to go out there. Moving on, the second point is a global market. So sitting here in Dhaka, you actually have a global market that's available for your product or service. Let's see the slides. So firstly, in the Android market, there's 1 million applications now. which is available in the Google Play Store. So that gives you an idea how much it is growing, and even like you can build an application today and have it in the market, and it'll be available for the entire world to download and use. These applications are being downloaded from 190 countries every day, and 67% of the revenues is actually happening outside the US, because we tend to think that, okay, sitting here, it's mostly happening in the US or the developed nations, but no, most of these revenues are coming from outside the country. So me and you, we could build a really good application today, have it in the Android market, and then make it into a big business. The third point is access to data. Very important for any business. You need a lot of data to analyze, to understand your market. In this digital age, you've got access to that. You can sit here, you can look at trends, you can do analytics on your website, and and there are plenty of other tools. So you can actually use these tools and analyze your data and take business decisions. This again is a very important advantage for any entrepreneur who's wanting to start up. Moving on. And last but not the least, this is actually, I think this is a very key point in working as an entrepreneur, especially in Bangladesh now. There's a lot of tech communities which have actually sprung up ever since the last 1 or 2 years, and they're doing great. So these communities such as Google Business Groups Dhaka, BD Tech Social, Startup Weekend took place last year, Startup Dhaka, Google for Entrepreneurs, Ittw. So these are actually, and there's a lot more who are doing great jobs. So these are actually great communities for you to get involved in, and this also provides a platform for you and to be in touch with like-minded people, to share ideas, and also just be known, use this as a platform. And so this, the fact that these tech communities are coming up every day, that's actually a really good thing, a really encouraging thing for all the startups in Bangladesh. And even like today, for example, the fact that you guys took the initiative and actually organized this event to speak about these things, this is actually a wonderful example of a community. So let's start to get involved in these communities. Let's build communities and then work together and help each other out. So if we look at the points, the first point, the encouraging point is no barrier to entry. Secondly, you've got a global market at your fingertips. There's a lot of access to data and the access to the tech communities. So all these put together. So do you think that if you have all these, then it's done? You can now launch your startup and make it big? Yes, you can, but I think, in my opinion, there's still a few factors that are involved, which I'd like to speak to you about. So what do you need to do now that you've got all these factors? So in my opinion, I also started as a startup like 5 years ago in Dhaka in Bangladesh, and there are a few things that I had some different sort of experiences, so I'd like to share with you some stories. So this picture, when I see this picture, I think about a scenario when I was a young kid. I used to think about an idea such as, I'm going to now fly like a Superman. So that was a crazy idea, but I would actually believe in that. I would put a blanket on in my back and actually try to fly. But now when I have, aged, I've grown up. Now when I think of an idea, I think about 10 different things. That if I do this, then this might happen. If I do that, that might happen. So the point is that when you were a child, when I was a child, we were more courageous. Like, we used to be creative, think of random things, and we used to think that, yeah, it's doable. But as we grow up, we become more, become more cautious, careful. So I think as an entrepreneur, it's very important to hold on to those traits that we once had when we were children. And it's very important to have that courage. And so you might have a great idea, but without any action, that idea doesn't mean anything. There's a lot of people, you might think of a very big idea, and you might, after 2 years, you might see that someone else has done that. Why? Because that person probably went ahead with that idea. So it's very, very important to have the courage to go through with the idea, and be like what you were when you were a kid. Moving on, the next thing is very important, having fun in what you do. So just because I want to be an entrepreneur doesn't mean that, it's not for making money, obviously, right? So if I think of a business which I don't like, I've got no passion for that, but I'm just doing it for money, it won't succeed. So you need to have a passion and a love for what you do, and you need to have fun. There's a saying called work hard, play harder. So you need to work hard, but at the same time enjoy yourself, have fun. You know the reason why does anyone not know who this is? So this is Sir Richard Branson, right? The founder of Virgin Group, Virgin Atlantic. So he's a very, I really look up to him. I read his books, and he motivates me a lot. And the reason why I've got his picture on the slide is because I wanted to share a very interesting story about what happened in 1977. So this guy is actually famous for having fun and making it big. So he's someone who goes in the balloon, travels the world, crosses the Atlantic swimming, he does crazy stunts. But at the same time, he's doing good in business. He's having fun. So what he did in 1977 was, so when he launched Virgin Records in London in 1977, so he didn't have that much money at that time. He started up as a startup as well. So he went to Jamaica. He went to Jamaica to sign some new talents, some reggae singers. So at that time he finished all those, and he kind of finished his money signing them. So he met up with his girlfriend at that time, and they decided that we need a break and let's go for a holiday, a short vacation. But the problem is we don't have much money on us. So you know what he did? So he heard that someone told him that, did you name your company Virgin Records from the Virgin Islands? And he didn't actually even know about Virgin Islands. He named it because at that time there were virgins in business, and they just started. So he liked the idea that, okay, there's an island called Virgin Islands. Let's go check it out, but we don't have the money because it's a very expensive place with really nice resorts. So he found out that if he goes and says that I want to buy an island, they're going to show him around in their chartered helicopter. And so that's what he did. He called them up and he was like, I'm interested in buying an island. I own a record label in UK. So can you show me around? And they were like, yes, sir, certainly. So he went to that island with his girlfriend, and then they checked into a resort, and guess what? Everything was paid for. They were like shown around throughout the island, and in the next day, they went to another island. Like that was actually the last one, because they were saying that 2 days, you still haven't chosen an island. Which one do you want? Then they went and saw an island. It was called Necker Island at that time. So he actually really loved that island. So they went in a helicopter, and he wasn't saying no because he was enjoying the flight, with his girlfriend. He couldn't have afforded that anyway at that time. So he went, he loved the island, and he was like, okay, so how much does this island cost? Then he was like, sir, £3 million. He was like, excuse me, £3 million? I've got £150,000 that I can pay for you for this island. Then the guy, his smile disappeared, and he was like, it's £3 million. He's like, I can pay you £200,000 maximum. And then what happened was, basically they got into the helicopter, went back to the resort, and in no time they saw that the luggages were all outside, and the others kind of understood what was going on. So they went to the airport, and then their next stop was Puerto Rico. So they went to the airport, and you know what happened? The flight got cancelled for Puerto Rico, and there were about 50 passengers, 39 passengers actually. 39 passengers were waiting that there's no flight. And this was 1977, obviously. So, so you know what Richard Branson did at that time? he suddenly got an idea. He saw a sign in the airport which said planes for charter for $2,000. So he actually says in the book that he doesn't know what he was doing, but he just went with his instincts and he chartered that aircraft for $2,000, got himself a blackboard from one of the shops in the airport and just wrote Virgin Airways, one way to Puerto Rico, $50 per ticket. In no time, all those passengers who were there, they flocked in, just got themselves the ticket for $50, and in that way, he got his and his girlfriend's ticket to Puerto Rico free of charge. And believe it or not, that was the first time he got an idea about launching an airline, Virgin Atlantic. And that was the way he started, but he did it for fun. And then, after obviously all these years, now Richard Branson is launching a new business where you'll be able to travel to space. So from 1977 to 2013, we see the amount, the journey that he has made. So he's a really good example of someone who, you know, likes to have fun. He loves what he does. So he's a very good person to research on if you want to have fun and do well as well. Moving on, so apart from having fun, it's also important to work hard. Let's face it, obviously you're starting a business. Let's assume that you don't have much resources at the beginning. So I personally worked really hard. So when actually I'll tell my story in the next slide. So moving on. So yeah, my personal experience. So I was educated in Dhaka in Bangladesh. I did my schooling here, and then for my university I moved to London in England. So I moved there, I started working there, and then suddenly I decided that, you know, I want to go back to Bangladesh and do something of my own. So I had that idea in my head, but at the same time, I didn't have that much resources. My family doesn't have a business, so I had to start from the beginning. So what I did was, I was thinking that, okay, how do I start? I was lost at the beginning. Because it's not easy that you want to do a business from zero. What do you do? And it's obviously not like now, like the factors that I discussed with you. This was like a good 6 years ago. It was very different. So I came back to Bangladesh, told my parents that, you know, I want to start my business, and everybody was a bit surprised because I left a stable job and came back to Bangladesh to start off a business, but I didn't know what I was going to do. So at that time, so I realized that there's a gap in the market for a marketing agency, because there were these big ad agencies who were like working with big clients. But at that time, there was a shortage of smaller agencies that you see now. There's a lot of good ones now. So for these SMEs, for these medium enterprises, there was no company catering to their needs. And I figured that this is actually the best way for me to invest no money and kind of like start giving service. So what I did was I found myself a partner, and I started to look into designing, graphic designing. I didn't know anything about graphic designing, but I searched the internet, you know, looked at nice formats, and I was seeing that these things are done in such a bad way in most of the local companies. Why not give it a facelift? So mind you, I didn't have an office, right, at that time. So what we did was, you know where American Burger is? In Gulshan 2. So behind that, there's a lot of stationery shops, right? You've seen those. So what we started, me and my partner, we started sitting there, and we used the designers there, and we started designing from, like, we used to download some inspiring designs from the internet, and we started designing there for good clients like DHL and big clients. But at the same time, these clients didn't know that these guys don't even have an office. We had a nice shirt, nice trousers, you know, nicely ironed. So we used to go, we used to speak fairly well. So we used to go there, present, have good presentation skills, and then we used to take the work, do it in the shop. And it was so hot at that time, honestly. Like, it was summer when I came back, and the electricity was really bad. It's not as good as now. And the shop didn't have an IPS, can you imagine? So like every hour we had to sit there, wait, have a burger, and again, start working. So anyway, moving on, we kind of started from there, and then we afforded an office, and then we took 1 staff, 2 staff, 3 staff, 4 staff, and then within 3 years, we kind of managed to make it into a sustainable business, and we offered more services over graphic designing and printing. And then we started managing events, then we started making videos, and then we started positioning ourselves as an overall communication agency. We got some good clients, and then you can say we started in 2007, but from 2010 things began to fall into place. So that's when we had some capital to, another thing that we did at that time was, so whatever money we made, we didn't take it and just spend it. So we actually saved for the company. And that money we then invested in other ventures as well. So then like a couple of years ago, we invested in a printing press. That was the first business I got into. And then, so we invested in the printing press, and then this year, we then decided that, okay, you know what? The face of marketing is changing. It's going towards digital. Let's start a digital advertising agency. So this digital advertising agency was started Magneto Digital in this year as a startup. We approached some angel investors. We got some investment. We got an office, and then we started this agency. So right now we have 3 businesses. One we have a printing press, Printex. One we have a route marketing services, which gave me my small humble identity, whatever I have today. And then Magneto Digital is our exciting new venture. So today when I look back, that guy who used to design for us back in the shop, behind American Burger, he's now the main guy running the show. He's the director, main guy running the show in the printing press. And my other partners, including myself, we look after the other business, Root and Printex. So the reason why I shared with you this experience is to give you the idea that you don't always need capital and a lot of money and to start a business. So all these 3 businesses that we started, I'll be honest with you today, we didn't invest a single dime out of our pocket, or my parents' pocket, or my father's, nothing. It was all from that shop, whatever we earned. Yes, that way if you want to grow organically, it takes a bit of time. So nowadays it's easier. You have a great idea, you go to an angel investor, you get some funds, you launch your product and you make money. But at that time we didn't have that, right? So, we had to start like that. And yeah, so it is actually possible to do business without any capital. We have done it. So today, whatever we've got, we haven't invested anything, we haven't taken any bank loans, nothing. So we are now working towards, especially the digital agency. So now we've kind of moved, so the business is going on, but we also want to work for Bangladesh. As Nash was saying, that's a very good point. The reason why he came back, he had so much there in America. He came back because he wanted to bring a change. So similarly, I also feel that when I started off as a startup, Bangladesh gave me a lot in terms of giving this platform for me to start from nothing. This probably wouldn't have been possible if it was somewhere else, I believe. So I want to give something back to Bangladesh as well. And for which reason? We're working towards the digital community in Bangladesh. We're working with the communities. Nash took me as part of Google Business Groups, and I'm trying to work hard and actually make a difference, giving people a platform to showcase their ideas, to showcase their work. For example, we are part of this program today. We are part of TEDx tomorrow. So we are also trying very hard to help the communities, help everyone grow, so that for every one of you, it's much easier than what it was for me. So with that, I'll actually finish off. And if you ever have any questions, or if you want to share anything, anytime, like I'm there, like whatever I can help you. I don't know if I can help you, but I'm there to help you out, and these are my contacts. So just feel free to reach out to me, and I'll do whatever I can, and all the very best with all you. And before I finish, if you ask me that out of this entire presentation, what is one thing, one last final word of advice for you? So I would say that you're at the crossroad where now you will graduate, go to university. So one thing that never lose that in yourself is that zeal that you had when you were wearing that Superman costume when you were a kid. So have that trait, because that is the most important thing that's gonna take you forward. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.